Hey everyone, let's just be totally honest for a second. Plain HTML is functional, sure, but black text on a crisp white background is definitely not winning any web design awards anytime soon. So welcome to this explainer. Today, we're essentially grabbing our virtual paintbrushes and figuring out how to transform those completely plain pages into something genuinely spectacular by demystifying HTML inline styling.
So are you ready to transform your plain HTML instantly? Because that's literally what we're going to be doing here. I'm promising you some incredibly quick wins today. The absolute secret to this whole magic trick, it's just one single word: the style attribute. It is the immediate magical solution to your web design problems, and it lets you inject life right into your code, exactly where it sits. Okay, let's dive into this. We'll start with an intro to inline CSS. Then we're cracking the style syntax, painting with colors, mastering fonts and sizes, aligning your text, and finally covering the golden syntax rules.
Starting with number 1, Intro to Inline CSS, your go-to styling tool.
You can really think of this as your first web dev power tool. Inline CSS is basically the method of adding immediate styling directly to your HTML elements using that style attribute we just mentioned. It's absolutely perfect when you just want to style a single specific element quickly. No separate files, no complex setup. You just drop the instructions directly inside the opening tag, boom, instant makeover.
Moving on to part 2, cracking the style syntax, the anatomy of style.
The anatomy here is incredibly simple once you break it down. It's really just 3 steps. First, you drop the style attribute right inside the HTML opening tag. Second, you state the property, which is just what you want to change, like the color. And third, you declare the value, which is how you want to change it, like making it red. Honestly, it's exactly like ordering at a coffee shop, right? You want the size, the property, to be large, the value.
But, okay, listen up, because this is the absolute golden rule you cannot break. You must put a colon between the property and the value, and you have to end the whole thing with the semicolon. Colon in the middle, semicolon at the end. It's like the fundamental rhythm of CSS. Colon, semicolon. Seriously, if your style isn't working on your web page, 99% of the time, you just forgot that semicolon. You've got to treat it like your best friend.
Let's move to step 3 and see how this builds. Painting with colors, backgrounds, and text.
Let's compare 2 really crucial properties here. Background color sets the color behind your text, and you can apply that to a tiny element or the entire page body. On the flip side, simply writing color changes the actual text color inside the element. It's a subtle naming difference, sure, but absolutely crucial. And remember our new best friend, the semicolon? Well, you can actually combine both of these in one single style attribute just by stacking them and separating them with a semicolon. You can have this brilliant blue background with crisp white text all sitting right there in one line of code.
So, how do we actually tell the browser which color we want? You've got 3 main formats. First up, simple names. Things like red, orange, or even those really fun built-in ones like tomato and papaya whip. And yes, those are real CSS colors. Second, you have hex codes. These are highly precise 6-digit mixes of red, green, and blue, preceded by a hashtag, like hashtag FFFF for pure white. And third, RGB values, where you literally dial in the intensity of red, green, and blue on a scale from 0 to 255. Whether you just want to throw in a quick color name or you need surgical design precision, HTML completely has you covered here.
All right, section 4, mastering fonts and sizes, typeface and scaling. Now that we actually have some color, it's time to shape the words themselves using the font family property. You can consider this me handing you the chisels to sculpt your typography. But a quick word of warning for all you designers out there. It's highly recommended to stick to web-safe fonts when using inline styles. These are fonts universally installed on almost all devices, so your site looks the exact same for everyone who visits. We're talking the absolute classics: Arial, Verdana, Helvetica, Times New Roman, and Courier. And oh, here is a massive pro tip. It's going to save you hours of debugging. If your font name has spaces in it, like Times New Roman, always wrap it in single quotes inside your style attribute. Otherwise, the browser gets entirely confused.
Next up, we have font size. The 2 main ways you'll usually size your text are percentages versus pixels. Pixels, or px, give you an exact, fixed size. It's very rigid, but percentages, they scale perfectly relative to the user's browser default. So if you want your text twice as big, you set it to 200%. And why does this matter so much? Because as web developers, we really want our sites to be accessible. If a visually impaired user has their browser default font set to be super large, percentages will respect that and scale up perfectly. Always try to lean towards percentages for a more inclusive web.
Section 5. Aligning your text, horizontal positioning.
The text align property is just super intuitive. You have 4 main values. Left is your default edge, where English naturally starts. Right pushes everything to the right side of its container. Center perfectly balances your text horizontally, which, by the way, is absolutely fantastic for your main headings. But I really want to specifically call out justify. If you use justify, the browser stretches your lines so they have equal width on both sides. It creates those super clean, crisp edges you see in professional newspapers or really formal documents. It's just a great way to make a block of text look instantly polished.
So the crucial point is bringing all these tools together in Chapter 6, the Golden Syntax Rules, Summary, and Best Practices.
You might want to grab a quick screenshot right now because this is basically your ultimate cheat sheet. These are the fundamental building blocks you just mastered. Background color for the element's backdrop, color for the text itself, font family for your typeface, font size to control how big it is, and text align to snap it into position horizontally. With just these 5 properties, separated by our very good friend the semicolon, you can build incredibly complex and beautiful layouts directly in your HTML.
But okay, as we close this out, I have to be completely honest with you. While inline CSS is fantastic for quick tweaks, testing things out, and especially for learning exactly how these CSS properties work, as your website grows to dozens or hundreds of pages, typing this into every single tag gets exhausting fast. Actually, scratch that. It becomes literally unmanageable. That's why moving your styles to an external CSS style sheet is the industry best practice. It separates your design from your content, keeping your HTML super clean, organized, and just infinitely easier to manage as your coding projects level up.
But for now, you have a massive new superpower right at your fingertips. So here's something to think about the very next time you browse your favorite site. Every stunning layout, every beautiful button, and every polished article you read is fundamentally built on these exact same underlying properties. Once you start seeing the web as a giant canvas built out of these basic rules, how will it completely change the way you interact with every single page you visit?
Thanks so much for joining me in this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.